Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure to be here with you today. This is a very important event, and I would like to thank the organizers here for providing me with this opportunity to address you. I'm unfortunately not a businessman nor an expert on investment, but what I would like to do here in my very brief address is perhaps to share with you some of the Israeli experience on some topics that might be relevant for Ukraine today. Now, investment is, of course, very important, and this reminds me of an MBA course I once took in the US, in which one of the professors told us, if you are interested in money, ask for advice. If you are going to ask for money, you are going to get an advice. So this actually leads me to the next thought that what is very important, perhaps even more than investment, is the mindset. And it happened to me many times when I travel here in Ukraine, and every time I go to a place, I meet the mayor, the governor, and I always have questions about how do we bring Israeli investors here. And this is indeed a very important question, but also you've got to have the right mindset to get the investors. And in Israel, one of the characteristics of Israel that perhaps some of you know is the fact that we do not have natural resources, or almost no natural resources. And our main resource is the people. Now, it sounds nice, people as a resource, but what does it really mean? And what it actually means is that people are the generator of wealth for the country, for the state. So how do you turn people into generators of wealth? You invest in them. You invest predominantly into the education system. And we are very lucky that the founders of our state understood this. And from the very early days of Israel, the education system have become extremely important. Now, it doesn't mean that we solved all our problems. We still have many challenges in the education system. But one of the issues that we reached a certain level of achievement is identification and promotion of gifted kids. Now, the previous panel dealt with education, perhaps from a different angle. But education is indeed very important, and in Israel we see it as, again, as a wealth generator. And the gifted children that are being identified during the first or second years of elementary school, later, throughout their education, get special curriculum, get special programs. We don't create special schools for gifted children in order not to create some kind of a social gap or create some sort of elite. They study within the educational system, but they are constantly challenged and motivated to explore, to ask questions, to look for different solutions to problems. And at the end of the educational process, as probably most of you know, we have the army. And the army in Israel also serves as a kind of an educational institution. And many of these, they're not kids anymore, they're young people, they go into the army. And they serve in special units that are aimed to predict and prepare for the battlefield of the future. And the battlefield of the future is going to be very, very high on technology. We are here in Ukraine, we are already very well familiar with the term hybrid war. And the battlefield of the future is going to consist of different types of warfare, cyber warfare, high technological warfare, etc., etc. And when these young people, when they leave the army with a lot of very intensive, very high-level knowledge that enable them to become the nucleus of the Israeli high-tech industry. And these people are really become role models. And in Israeli schools, the kids, they don't only aspire to be Messi or Ronaldo, but they also want to become these kinds of entrepreneurs who made it. And these are the people who really generate most of the wealth for our country. And I would like to conclude by saying that here in Ukraine, on no accounts you have less talented people in Israel. When I came here the first time, I was extremely impressed by the level of people, by some of your very good, very advanced educational institutions. And I think it's worthwhile to consider investing into a system that will turn these people into cash generators. Thank you very much for your patience, and good luck at the conference.